Russell Westbrook turns down his option and becomes a free agent. Jake Coyne is the head of NBA research for Stats Perform NBA Data Analysis. I don't know if I got all that right, Jake. But Jake is one of the guys that can answer the technical, financial sort of questions. So, Jake, thank you for joining us. How are you, Jake?
Doing really well, Dmac. Appreciate that intro. And yeah, I've jumped on with Vic and the guys in the morning a few times and happy to jump on with you guys. I don't know if this is a promotion or a demotion, but I guess we'll find out here, right?
Well, it depends who you ask. But let's talk about Russell Westbrook particular. What did he turn down with the Nuggets, and what do you think he's looking for? And what's the best way if the Nuggets wanted to retain him that would make sense?
Yeah, so basically Westbrook turned down an option that was worth about $3.4 million. And so the reason he turned this down is that pretty much he'll get more money regardless of how things happen. Um, his minimum that he was set to make this year is actually less than the minimum he can sign for right now. And so that's a really minor raise he can get if he gets another minimum. It's like an extra $300,000 or something. But it is more money, right? The
Right.
other options are that Denver can give
I'll
him a
take an extra
20%.
300K if you're wondering. Yeah.
The other options are Denver can give him a 20% raise, which comes out to 4 point something. And the last option is that they use an exception on him called the MLE, and that would put him up close to 6 million. So those are kind of the main options that Denver's looking at.
And is Denver's, as you say, mid-level exception MLE? Is it different because they're at the first apron as opposed to somebody else? Would that be higher for somebody else that used the mid-level exception?
Yeah. So pretty much because Denver's above what's called the first apron, which is just kind of a salary threshold, it's worth a little under 6 million. For teams that are under that threshold, they can go up to 14 million. So it's actually more than double that amount. And they can
Yeah.
even split that up into multiple players if they wanted. So yeah, if Denver was below that threshold, they could definitely pay out more.
Well, Jake, what do you think this means specifically for us, the Nuggets? Do you think that this means that he's done?
I don't think this is a for sure sign that he's done. I think the Nuggets will monitor his situation. I do believe that if his price gets to a certain point, they will let him go. There are a few teams that I could see going after him and giving him a little bit more money. But I think if the price is right, Russ could definitely be back. I mean, this guy played 2,000 minutes for you last year, which is a very difficult thing to replace, especially in the position that Denver's in. So, not a for sure thing that he's gone, but um, he certainly can leave if he wants to.
What would be the max amount, Jake, do you think that could be offered for Westbrook? Like somebody, like a team could offer this if they want him, which is far beyond what the Nuggets could do.
Yeah, so I think one team I'd look at would be Sacramento, who kind of needs a point guard. Um, and could use a name like Westbrook. He's also from the state of California, so there's some connections there. I could see them offering him part of that bigger mid-level exception, maybe not the whole thing, but I could see them offering him, 7 million, maybe even up to 10 million. But that would probably be the very ceiling of what I could see would be somewhere around there.
And that would be what do you see? 6 or so for the Nuggets. So anything above 6 would be pretty rough for the Nuggets. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's a situation that's like a little bit similar to Bruce Brown a couple years ago, where if another team really wants to come in and offer Westbrook a big deal, Denver simply just can't match it legally. And so, yeah, Denver would max out just below $6 million. And if someone comes and gives him 7 to 10, I think he's as good as gone.
Well, and the difference of Bruce, I think Bruce, the most Denver could offer was like 8.5, and he ended up getting 17 right on his offer sheet from Indiana. So that becomes the big difference.
I don't mean to be a jerk about this because millions of dollars are still millions of dollars. But this is not a huge separator like the Nuggets could do for Bruce Brown and what Bruce Brown got. I mean, that was
No.
massive. This is
We're
a
talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars
Well,
rather than
But maybe. But I mean, if Sacramento could go up to $9 million and you can only offer $6 million, I don't know about you guys. $3 million in one season.
And listen,
is a
and
whole
I'm
lot
not
of money,
I'm
man.
not going to look past $3 million, but the dude has made over $300 million in his career.
You're living in your own $10 an hour bunker. You got to get out. That ain't.
All right.
We're talking not the
All right.
real world. He ain't going to make $3 million. And none of us going to go out and make $3 million
No
a
kidding.
year. And we're talking that as a difference.
Jake, is that what it's going to boil down to financially? Basically?
Well, I think you make a good point. I think you make a good point, Dmac. That was Bruce Brown's first real payday, right? And Westbrook has a lot of millions of dollars in the rearview mirror. And so I don't think it's purely about money, but I think money is always the most important thing. And I don't blame athletes at all for that. I think that should be most important.
All right, Jake, we'll let you
but-
go here. Last thing, what other financial, or do you guys have anything else
Well, I
for
was
Jake?
going to ask you
I'm
about their chances of what would they be able to do for a Michael Porter if
okay.
who's the name you keep hearing about that could be possibly moved.
Yeah, I think with Michael Porter, you're probably looking at breaking his contract up into multiple role players if they do move him. I don't think you're going to get a player back that's as good as Michael Porter without moving some other assets like a draft pick or maybe like a Christian Brown or Peyton Watson. So I think you'd be looking at mostly role players for him. Other than the one name I'd watch would be Cam Johnson in Brooklyn. He's probably a higher level player that you might be able to get for Michael Porter.
Yeah, and Brooklyn's already way behind the cap, but his name, Cam Johnson, keeps coming up. And Cam Johnson would be the closest guy that you could get that could shoot like him a little bit, and is probably a better defender, or is a better defender.
Yep, him and Trey Murphy is another name you'll hear a lot about, but I think Trey might be a little bit out of Denver's price range. So Cam Johnson would be the one big name I'd watch if they're going to do a deal like that.
All right, Jake, any other restrictions on anything else you hear out there that's like, hey, man, that's fun in Fantasyland but can never happen because of financial or contract reasons? Is there anything like a dose of reality here, Jake? What do you got for us?
Yeah, I think it is just most of those big names. You should probably, tell yourself Denver can't really get those guys just because of their lack of draft picks. So your Kevin Durant, your Trey Murphy, your Giannis, if he gets traded. I would just not even think about that if you're a Denver fan. But you get below that, and I think you can get creative. But it probably does require moving one of your starters. So just keep in mind that it will be painful if you do end up doing a deal.
All right, Jake, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Where can people follow you?